The moment the car door slammed shut, the forest seemed to inhale, as if even the trees were shocked by what they had just witnessed. Sunlight filtered through tall trunks, painting patches of gold on the dirt road, but none of that warmth reached the woman left behind. She sat frozen in her wheelchair, her hands trembling, her breath shallow, staring at the back of the car that was already pulling away. In that single instant, her entire life collapsed into a painful truth she had never wanted to believe. The men she once trusted with her soul had abandoned her in the middle of nowhere, believing no one would ever know, and certain that no one would ever care. Before the story continues, take a moment to pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of humanity even in the darkest moments, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Her name was Elena, and just 5 years earlier, she had been full of motion and laughter. She had loved long walks, spontaneous road trips, and the feeling of wind rushing through her hair. Life had felt endless back then. But fate had other plans. A sudden accident on a rainy night had stolen the strength from her legs and replaced it with metal frames, hospital walls, and months of silent tears. The doctors had spoken gently, their words rehearsed, explaining how walking again would be unlikely. In that moment, Elena's world didn't end because of the injury, it ended because she saw fear in her husband's eyes. At first, he tried to be strong. He helped her into bed, pushed her wheelchair through the hospital corridors, and reassured friends that everything would be fine. But slowly, cracks appeared. His patience thinned. His sighs grew heavier. His phone buzzed more often, always turned away. The warmth in his touch faded into routine obligation. Elena noticed everything but said nothing. She believed love meant endurance, even when it hurt. The forest around her now felt vast and uncaring. Birds fluttered in the distance, and leaves rustled with the wind, but no human sound answered her silent pleas. Panic crept into her chest as she realized the truth of her situation. No phone signal. Northwest nearby road. Just trees, shadows, and the echo of betrayal ringing in her ears. Tears streamed down her face, not loud or dramatic, but slow and heavy, the kind that came from a place too deep for words. Her mind replayed the drive again and again. The way he had avoided her eyes. The forced calm in his movements. The excuse he had given about stopping for fresh air. She remembered how he had pushed her wheelchair out, how the door had closed, how the engine had started. She remembered screaming his name as the car disappeared between the trees. The memory felt unreal, like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. What Elena didn't know was that she was not as alone as she believed. From deeper within the forest, partially hidden behind thick trunks and tangled undergrowth, a man stood watching. He had seen the car arrive. He had watched the woman being wheeled out. He had sensed something was wrong long before the car sped away. His posture stiffened as realization struck him. This was no accident. This was abandonment. His face hardened, not with anger alone, but with resolve. The mysterious man was known in nearby villages as someone who preferred solitude. He lived close to the forest, kept to himself, and spoke little. People made assumptions about him because silence often invites judgment. But beneath that quiet exterior was a past filled with loss, regret, and lessons learned too late. Years ago, he had failed someone who needed him. That failure haunted him still, shaping every choice he made afterward. He waited, observing carefully, ensuring that what he had seen was real. When the sound of the car completely faded, he stepped forward. Elena noticed movement and flinched, fear gripping her already fragile heart. Alone, injured, and vulnerable, she expected the worst. Her hands clenched the wheels of her chair, her body tense. The man approached slowly, careful not to startle her. He stopped at a distance, his presence calm, grounded, human. Elena searched his face for signs of danger but found only concern. The forest no longer felt entirely hostile, but her pain remained raw. Shame mixed with relief. Being abandoned was one thing, being seen in that moment felt almost unbearable. Time passed strangely after that. The man assessed the situation without rushing. He checked the road, scanned the area, and thought through every option. He understood how fragile the situation was. Trust could not be demanded. It had to be earned. With steady movements, he began clearing a safer path, ensuring her wheelchair wouldn't tip. He offered help without pressure, his actions speaking louder than words ever could. As they made their way through the forest, Elena's body ached, but something inside her slowly shifted. For the first time since the accident, she felt seen not as a burden, but as a person worth protecting. Every movement was careful. Every pause respected her limits. The contrast between this stranger's kindness and her husband's cruelty was impossible to ignore. They reached a small cabin hidden among the trees, simple but warm. Inside, sunlight poured through dusty windows, and the air smelled of wood and earth. The men ensured she was comfortable, tended to her scrapes, and gave her space when she needed it. Elena finally allowed herself to cry freely, releasing days, months, even years of suppressed pain. Her tears were not just for what had happened in the forest, but for every moment she had blamed herself for being injured, for needing help, for not being enough. Night fell quietly. Outside, the forest settled into shadows and whispers. Inside the cabin, something remarkable happened. Elena slept deeply for the first time in a long while, not because her problems were solved, but because she felt safe. Safety, she realized, was not about walls or locks. It was about being treated with dignity. In the days that followed, the men helped Elena contact authorities and arrange proper care. The truth came out, slowly but unmistakably. Her husband's actions could not be hidden. Consequences followed, as they often do when cruelty is exposed to light. But revenge was never the center of this story. Healing was. Elena began physical therapy again, this time with renewed determination. She learned to advocate for herself, to set boundaries, to believe that her worth was not measured by what her body could or could not do. The forest, once a symbol of her deepest fear, became a turning point in her life. It was where she lost everything she thought she had and discovered strength she never knew existed. The mysterious man faded quietly back into his life, never seeking recognition or praise. He had done what he believed was right, and that was enough. For him, helping Elena was not about being a hero. It was about correcting a wrong, about choosing compassion when indifference would have been easier. Months later, Elena sat near a window in her new home, sunlight warming her face. She reflected on how close she had come to giving up, how easily her story could have ended differently. Instead, it had transformed into something powerful. She had survived betrayal, isolation, and despair, and emerged with a voice stronger than ever. Just before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below where you're watching from and share one thought or feeling this story stirred inside you. Your words may give comfort to someone who needs it today. As this story draws to a close, take a moment to reflect. If Elena's journey touched your heart, if it reminded you of the strength hidden within broken moments, please like this video, share it, and leave a heartfelt comment. Your engagement helps spread messages of hope, resilience, and humanity to those who may feel forgotten. In the end, this was not just a story about abandonment. It was a story about unseen guardians, about quiet courage, and about how even in the darkest forests, compassion can still find its way through the trees.